What's up, guys? Insane Drummer. So I've been taking my students out of this book called Drumstick Control, and it's really good for introducing the concept of accents. As you can see, the first page of instruction is all about just accenting, all with the right hand or all with the left hand. I'll just give you some examples. First exercise, all right hand. Then it moves to the left. Next exercise. So accent tap sort of things and inverted ideas of those concepts. Then it gets into, so that would be like a grouping of two, right? Then it gets into triples, which you can use this to start incorporating molar, the idea of molar, and this kind of wavy motion with your wrist and your arm and your fingers. You can get a grouping of four. Then together. So that's the first page. The second page adds another accent. And obviously this trains the student, as the teacher explains, to learn how to stop the note after the rebound's made the stick come back up in a certain position. Because we know as drummers, if we don't stop the stick in time, and we let the rebound come back up here for our next stroke, we get that. Versus a really difference in dynamic versus not that much difference in dynamic. It's all about how you let that rebound come back out and how you control that rebound that comes back out of the stick. And then the next two pages, it gets into sixteenths and eighths. So I'll just play you some of the exercises out of these two pages. So it's really good because it always incorporates both sides of the sticking. It'll have the right-handed version, and then under it, it'll say try it with the left. Every single thing in here, just like stick control did when it came out. It would write one thing and right hand lead, and the next thing left hand lead. So you know, but just a bunch of adding sixteenths with your eighth patterns with accents incorporated. Then it gets into threes and groupings of threes and accenting with threes. This book does a really good job with progression. Just like I just showed, he would add a 16th the next time. And you eventually get into doubling the whole thing that you started out with. So if you started at eighth notes, you eventually end up doubling that into sixteenths and learning how to use both hands to do that. So that's the first couple of pages. And then it obviously gets into alternating accenting. In groups of twos and common accent patterns. All kinds of great stuff for the hands. The really challenging thing about this book is that it'll do like a subdivision grid with one hand. And then it'll ask you to add the other hand in. And see, that's a really good way to teach subdivisions, because it's taking one hand at a time and making them understand that you're just adding in the other hand. It's a fill-in type of approach to learning stick control, accents, and different rhythms. And he even incorporates drum set ideas, swing and straight, in this book. In this book, he also incorporates the idea of diddles. I'll just play this exercise for you. 2. So this book basically just uses the approach of one hand at a time and then fill in the other hand for that rhythm. Whether it's anything. This book does that for everything. It even goes and explains later on different paradiddles and how to make them faster as you kind of think of it systematically like this, like a paradiddle or double paradiddle, for instance. The way you get it faster is you think of them as diddles rather than double strokes, right? At this speed, you're thinking about it as a double stroke, and you need to think of it that way. But once it hits about here, then you can start going and incorporate the diddle, right? Which is where our wrist goes down once and we get 2 notes out of it. So what this book does is it actually notates out what that one hand is playing. And then the other hand adds in. One thing in general about this book is that it has a relevance for your whole drumming life. And in the very beginning, it's very, very good for beginners. It teaches them the basic technique of accents and diddles and things like that. And then there's the intermediate part of the book. And then there's definitely an advanced part of the book. I'm still working out of this book, definitely. Because it gets into diddling and accenting and offsetting them off each other. Like having a triplet grid and diddling on the first note, but then accenting on the second note. And then the third note. So it takes each individual concept, like a diddle or an accent or a tap, and it makes the student realize how it works at the individual level within each hand. This book is great. You will be practicing out of this book pretty much your entire drum career, just like you do out of stick control. This book is a great book to go along with stick control. For one reason that I like it a lot is because it's very drum set oriented. In drum set, we don't get into a lot of the, you can add anything in a drum set you want to, but there's definitely some nerdy snare kind of stuff that has no real application to drum set, like cheeses or flam fives. Like I said, you can add them in there if you want, but this book really has some great stick control exercises, and it makes it universal to drum set, not just a snare thing. And that's what I really like about it. I hope you like this book. I hope you get it for your advancing students, ones that are past strokes, ready to get into some articulation with their strokes, accenting, diddling, flams, dynamics. This book has a lot of great things, and it's a really good one for your collection and for your students. So thanks, guys. I'll check you on the next one.